Hello, this is Jamerica 5288, and this is a foolproof method of getting your seeds to germinate and becoming viable seedlings that you could either put in a container or put in the ground. Let's get to it. Let's go outside. So I'm back, and the technique I use, this is about the technique I use for sowing seeds. So initially, I would just dump a bunch of seeds into a cup like this, and then I would have to worry about separating them out, and the roots would get ripped, and uh, some of them died. Actually, about 25 to 50% died, depending on how root bound it was. So if you don't have a lot of room, of course, you could use the Dixie cup method, where you just pour the whole pack of seeds into a cup and then cover it with soil and water it. And of course, that's the easier way to water the plants, but a better way is to put them into pods. Now, you can buy pods from Walmart, but I just go to my local big box store that sells seedlings, and they have these trays left over after they sell the little cups like this. So these will go in here. After they sell them, they have these trays just sitting all about, and they throw them in the trash. These are about the same size, if not bigger, than some of the seedling trays that they sell at the big box store and at Walmart. So first thing I do is I get wet soil and I put it in there. Make sure you get some decent soil and there's not any bugs in it, or very few bugs or no blood bugs that you can see, because there's always going to be microorganisms in the dirt or in the soil. So that's the first thing. But if you don't have, or you can't afford to purchase soil, go outside and get some of your dirt from outside and put it in a tray or into a cup. My method is the tray method. Or into a cup, and just put some seeds in and cover it up and water it every day. So the bigger the seeds, the deeper you plant it. So I'm looking at these beet seeds, right? And they're pretty big. So I am going to use my finger and make a little hole in each of this. Now, beets are a root crop, right? So one beet equals one plant. Some people overseed and they put 2 to 3 seeds in there, and I do that sometimes when I don't, I'm not sure about the seed. But this one, I get these from the Dollar Tree for 25 cents, and they always germinate for me. I have not had a bad experience with them yet. Now, they are not this one. Some of them are heirloom seeds, but this one is not. So I'm going to put 1 seed per pod. And this thing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and 4. So this is going to be 20 beets, because I'm only putting 1 seed per pod. Now I might get 18, but 18 beets is good too. So I'm just putting my finger there and making a little hole, a divot in each pod. And I'm going to put 1 seed per pod in there. So there. Oh, I didn't get in the hole. There. Now I can see these seeds. If they were smaller, I would have just rub them on top with a toothpick or with a spear. And I have a video where I put what seeds with that, cucumber seeds, and there's a couple of other ones that are really small seeds, and I just rub them on top. I do not put a hole in there in the ground and into the soil and put it in there. So up to there, and I can see these seeds. They're pretty big. I'll come closer so that you can see what they look like, but I'm almost done. 1 seed per pod. I had an extra one, so I'm going to go ahead and put another one in here. And then I just close them up. Cover them up. Now with one of seeds like this is a one of seed for the beets. What else is like that? Cabbage. What else is like that? There are certain crops that just give you one root. But people also eat the leaves of beets. So I got all of this stuff covered up with soil. All of the holes are covered up. I'm tamping it down. And then I just water them in on a daily basis. So let me show you what these seeds look like. Let's get up and close and personal. All right, so beet seeds are huge. You see that? I can see them. The bigger the seed, the deeper you can plant it. Now, if it's a mustard seed, then a mustard seed, what else? What was small for me? Mustard seeds, celery seeds, scotch bonnet, bell pepper. What else did I have? Callaloo and lemongrass and artichokes. They were really small. No, lemongrass and what was the other one? I forget. They were all small, but beet seeds are a normal size. Now, okra is also a large seed. But with okra, I will plant them in the pot because okra does not like to be repotted. So the less you repot okra, the better. After I get this on here, I wait for them to germinate. And I'm gonna take you over to some that's germinating right now. So initially, when they're just going in the ground and there's no signs of germination, I leave them on the table just like that. After a few of them start popping up, I put them under grow lights. And I'm going to show you some close up. I'm going to turn the light off so you all can see. So when they start germinating, like that one, see that? I put them under grow lights and I intermittently put them outside. First, I'll put them outside for an hour, then I'll increase it to 2 hours, and then I'll just leave them outside after a while. If it's warm, if it hits below 55 degrees, I bring them back in the house. So let's go outside and see what's going on out there. Once they've germinated for at least a week or two, and I think they're strong enough, if it is above 55 degrees, I leave them outside until they get big and healthy. So I normally transplant them when they're around this side. This is a brassica that's coming up. When they're around this size, and you can see that there's a couple of other seedlings. Once you get them in the cups, you wait till they get nice and healthy like this with their secondary leaves. You see that? There's secondary leaves on this one. This is going to go in the ground soon. And then I put them in the ground. So here are some seedlings that are still small that are in the ground. And I just make sure I water them every day until they get that big. See how big these are? Now, the one thing that you need to watch out for once they get big is to make sure that you water them, first of all. It doesn't have to be every day, just as long as there's some moisture in the soil. But, example, this is some, what do they call it? It's an herb, sorry. This is one of the seedlings that I planted yesterday, right? And I have to water it because new seedlings need water. Older seedlings, like this sunflower, has been through the storm and through the rain, and it survived. The bugs were eating them up. The snails were eating them up, but I treated the soil, so hopefully it stops. But after they get around that big, they can survive being, a little dry. But when it's this little, when you just plant them, like you just planted these yesterday, you should water them every day. And I have to put some water on there. Look at that one. That one looks like it's wilting. So, if you do not have room plant them in a container. These have been in containers all of their lives. And look at that, there's flowers on it. No one can tell you that you cannot do it in a container, because that's simply not true. You'll get fruit on there. You'll get what? This is tomatoes. This is my bell peppers. See that? You can do it. And these all came straight from seeds. I did not buy starts for these plants. This is my Scotch bonnet. So, as I said, from start to finish, this is my technique. You just continually watch it when they're babies, just like a human baby is born. You have to be super delicate with it, but you eventually up pot it until you finally put it in a pot, or you put it in the ground. Ground is better because the plant can survive better in the ground than it can in a container. You have to be more diligent with the watering in the pot than the container. That's what I mean to say. And you have to fertilize more because they only have the nutrients that's inside the pot. So let's go inside. All right, I did this a couple of times and man, I had to do it over and over again. There was one thing I forgot to tell you. See those grow lights? You don't have to have grow lights. You don't have to spend that money. You don't have to spend the money on the trays. You just use a Dixie cup, or you go to your supermarket and ask them, or to your big box store or to Walmart and ask them if they have any empty trays. You use those. Those are free. Dirt, get from the yard or from some park, you know, when nobody's looking. And once they start to sprout, you can either put them on the grow lights, and most people don't have grow lights, so go ahead and put them in the windowsill. That's free sunshine. You don't want leggy plants. If you have seedlings that are not exposed to sunlight, what happens is the plant starts reaching for the closest access to sunlight that it can get. So you have to put them, once they sprout, you have to put them in a windowsill or have grow lights, or put them under a bright light. If you have a UV light, or I know we used to grow plants in our office and there were no windows, and we had those big old, you know, overhead lights that they have in there, and the plants grew just fine. Plant is just looking for sunshine. So I'm not gonna go on and on about that. I already showed you my process. This is Jamerica 5288. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.